Let's bring in former Integrated Bar of the Philippines President Domingo Igon Cayosa. Attorney, welcome back to Storycon. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Attorney.
Good afternoon. Magandang hapon sa ating mga kababayan.
Alright, Attorney. I'm assuming na panood niyo po kanina
Day 12.
yung Day 12 ng impeachment trial. Ang tanong po dito, ano po sa tingin niyo po yung naging highlight or takeaway nung impeachment trial kanina?
Aside from yung mga nakakatawang pangyayari at na-smile yung mga puwes at mga witnesses at mga
Yes.
abogado, ang maganda dito yung cross-examination. There was a valiant attempt on the part of the defense, of course, to try to limit the damage of the direct examination. But unfortunately, kasi ang purpose ng cross-examination is either to overturn yung direct examination or to convince the judges and the viewers na there's an alternative theory but there were good attempts to point that out, but these are more exceptional details. Hindi pa rin tibag kasi yung main testimony ng witness na meron talagang mga definite requirements for liquidation of confidential funds, because confidential funds are not, unlike what many people would believe, are not exempt from audit and you have to liquidate. And because they are confidential funds, and in the past this was a source of a lot of corruption, nag-issue nga nung COA Circular 2015-01. So that's the main testimony. And then as to the details, the prosecution did a sampling of those questionable transactions at na-explain nung witness na hindi talaga nakapag-liquidate ng maayos yung Office ng Vice President at saka ng DepEd Secretary. Kaya nga umabot ito at this point, it is already notice of disallowance. Of course, ang limitation ng witness na ito, before those things happen, yung subsequent processes, hanggang sa AOM lang siya at saka sa notice of suspension. So hanggang doon lang ang kanyang alam. But still, even under cross-examination, ay hindi pa rin natibag yung main testimonya niya na marami, substantial at marami yung mga transactions na hindi na-liquidate properly ng Office of the Vice President at DepEd. And there are also transactions that were not authorized transactions under that COA circular. So,
Yes.
the fact na inamin niya na on process yung iba, mga ganyan, does not, and then meron ding iba na na-explain daw, that was a good move. Napaamin niya na may mga iba na nasa AOM na na-explain, kaya hindi na umabot ng NS o kaya notice of disallowance. But there are so many question transactions. The fact na merong isa, dalawa, tatlo o 10 does not excuse you from your responsibility and your liability in case the others hindi mo ma-explain.
Attorney, nung first 3 weeks ng impeachment, yung isa sa mga major criticism doon sa proseso ng impeachment na nagaganap ay masyado daw na over-judicialize yung process. No? Ngayon naman, may lumalabas naman na initial na criticism na baka naman maging masyadong over-proceduralize yung process dahil ang nakikita ng mga tao ay mga documentary evidence, mga audit reports, bank reports, at saka yung debate primarily ay over procedures, no? Whether ito ay authenticated, whether ito ay admissible, etc. Ang kinakabahan ng iba, baka mag-sign off naman yung nanonood na mahalaga rin dahil yung court of public opinion ay baka dramatically mabawasan. So from your vantage point, tingin nyo ba may ganun talagang basihan yung criticisms na ito, or tingin nyo nababalanse naman yung pangangailangan ng ebidensya and at the same time conscious dun sa mga nanonood?
Well, the fear or the expectation or the tendency na mag-sign off yung maraming nanonood, I could understand that kasi ito pinag-uusapan mga numero na mga resibo, mga
Yes.
detalye na. So that's normal. People would want to avoid yung makarinig lang ng a few examples, okay na sa kanila to form a conclusion. And that's why I think yun ang ginagawa ng prosecution na ginagawa ng katawa-tawa para engage pa rin. But I would expect na kung tuloy-tuloy na isa-isahin mga ito, mabobore kasi halos pare-pareho naman ang sasabihin. Now, as to whether or not it is over-proceduralized, I don't think so. Because you're talking of specific transactions or specific periods at the very least. So it is necessary for the witness to tackle this. Kasi hindi rin natin pwedeng mag-assume. As a matter of fact, I think it was good, number one, na both parties agreed to stipulate on so many other documents. Secondly, both parties agreed to cite and rely on that rule regarding voluminous documents, voluminous evidence. So, nag-agree naman din, in fairness to the defense, nag-agree sila doon. Kaya ang ginagawa ngayon ng instead of presenting all the 800 and another set of 3,600 documents, nag-agree sila to rely on that rule na magbigay ka na lang ng general picture of what are in those documents and then magbigay na lang ng sample. Yun ang ginagawa nila ngayon. So, I think makakatulong yan to abbreviate the whole process.
Well, attorney, no, ang comment ng iba is, ang katanungan din is yung tinatahak ba ng direksyon ng prosecution, you think, just like nangyari sa grave threats, is enough to sway the senator judges into voting for a conviction? Kasi sa grave threats, di ba, hindi naman daw kailangan ipakita yung actual assassin. Dito, hindi po ba kailangan or importante ipakita kung sino talaga ang tumanggap ng pera?
No, it's good that you asked that. Yun yung layman's thinking, no, na di ba, at meron ding attempt on the part of the defense, di ba, tinanong niya, meron ba ditong nakalagay na kahit isang kuting binulsa ng vice president, di ba? That was a very pointed question. But then we have to remind our audience or the people, or I'm sure the judges, senator judges have been briefed by their lawyers, we hope so, because meron na ho kasing jurisprudence with respect to failure to liquidate. Na pag you fail to liquidate, the prosecution does not need to prove na binulsa mo yan. There is a legal presumption at ito hindi ho bago. One case involves Mayor Datu Tangote of Lanao del Norte, 1994 case ito. And then there was a more recent case, 1999, si Mayor Martinez of Caloocan City. Ang doktrina dito sa Supreme, ganun din, nakasuhan din sila ng graft and corruption, failure to liquidate public funds. Ang ruling ng Supreme Court dito ay kung if any public official fails to properly liquidate public funds na hawak niya at ginastos niya, it is prima facie evidence na you use that for your personal benefit. So hindi naman kinakailangan. If our expectation is the prosecution should prove that binulsa, pumunta sa bank account ng nasasangkot o nasasakdal na government official, hindi na ho kailangan yun because there's that presumption.
So are you saying, attorney, that a mere misuse of these confidential funds could be tantamount to an impeachable offense or high crime or a betrayal of public trust? Because that will be the question sa mga minds then.
Yes. It's not even misuse. The failure to properly liquidate gives rise to a prima facie presumption that you use it for your own benefit. So, importante ho na ma-establish because that's a principle in law. That's the law. That's jurisprudence. To as far as I know, that hasn't been overturned. That hasn't been changed. So it applies to this case or any other case of malversation, graft, or corruption.
In relation, yeah.
As long as maipakita ng COA na she failed to properly liquidate, then mananagot siya. At so far kasi, there are many transactions. Of course, there are some transactions na at the AOM level, hindi na umabot sa suspension or sa yung disallowance. But then again, that doesn't tell the whole story. There are also many other incidences or disbursements na umabot hindi lang sa suspension kundi sa disallowance na. So as far as COA is concerned, meron na silang final decision within COA na disallowed naman ito. So the Vice President was already given so much time to explain this away. Yung iba, nagtagumpay siya, but marami pa rin ang hindi. Kaya nga umabot sa notice of disallowance.
In relation do sa tanong ni Diego, attorney, no? May nakausap kasi ako na ilang mga members ng prosecution at sinasabi nila na pinag-uusapan pa nila kung talagang magpo-produce sila ng mga smoking gun testimonies as such. Dahil yung iba sa kanila ay iniisip na baka sapat na itong documentary evidence na ito para dito sa article na ito. Pero hindi ba para sa dalawang purposes? Una, to strengthen yung documentary evidence, kinakailangan mo ng may magko-corroborate na tao, na testigo, no? Katulad halimbawa ni Colonel Chica, katulad halimbawa ni Madriaga, etc. At ikalawa, para masustain yung attention ng Court of Public Opinion, kinakailangan may makita silang muka rather than mga papel lamang, di ba? So, from your vantage point, tingin nyo ba ay sapat na yung ganitong klaseng mga documentary evidence at hindi na kinakailangan ng mga smoking gun testimonies katulad dun sa previous article?
Well, maaring sapat na, pero kung meron naman sila, halimbawa, magkatugma yung testimony o yung sinasabi ni Madriaga o sino man, no, na talagang yung mga withdraw nila ay dinala nila sa ibang bagay. Hindi ho totoo yung accomplishment report, hindi totoo yung mga kaya peke lahat yung mga pinapirma nila, mas makakatulong yon. But what we're saying is there's enough presumption in law that can already make it stick. At as you say, na there's the political side of this. Hindi naman lang yung usaping batas kasi pagdating sa impeachment. So maganda rin if they have competent and credible witnesses whose testimonies would jibe with what has already been established dito sa mga documentary evidence and the audit report of COA, di mas mabuti yun. It's icing for the cake.
Well, attorney, this last 2 days were quite a lot in terms of presenting the evidence of Article 1. At ang defense po kanina sa kanilang cross-examination, pinoint out that the witness testimony or yung mga sinabi niya ay only preliminary. So ang tanong po dito, attorney, ano po ba ang effect nito doon sa mga sinabi nung witness? Gayong sinabi nga nitong defense, preliminary lang naman yan, that's not final.
Well, it is true na preliminary lang kasi pinag-uusapan lang kasi umalis siya sa unit na yan kasi eh. Di ba? So, alam niya, in-investigate niya, may AOM siya, meron na siyang nabanggit na notice of suspension. Hindi siya umabot dun sa notice of disallowance eh. Pero siguro yung susunod na witness, siya na yung magtatapos niyan. Kasi kung siya yung hanggang ngayon nandyan pa o hanggang at least at the time na nag-issue ng notice of disallowance, then he can finish. No? The other aspect that we have to take into consideration also is this. Ito evidence for the prosecution lang. So
Yes.
hindi rin nila alam kung anong sasabihin ng evidence for the defense, di ba? Baka biglang merong mga titindig dyan na sabihin sila nga si Mary Grace Piatos, and then at maayos ang kanilang testimony, edi medyo mahirap. Kaya maganda rin, yung sinasabi kanina ni Ronald na mas maganda kung meron na magtestigo na yung mga ibang pera dyan na winidraw sa bangko, dinala namin diretso dun sa ibang tao, hindi na. Para ma-foreclose pa yung possibility na baka nga meron silang magandang explanation o meron silang magtetestigo na mag-aamin sila nga talagang tumanggap ng mga yan. Kasi ngayon, the presumption is they are fictitious persons, these are disallowed, pero yung hindi siguro necessarily now, kasi impeachment court ito, yung hindi ginawa o hindi nagawa ng Vice President dun sa proseso ng COA, baka nga pipilitin nilang gagawin ito, i-explain away nila lahat ng mga basehan for the disallowance.
Meron pong may pinresent po kanina si Attorney Powa na Circular 2014 2012 if I'm not mistaken. Tapos may sinasabi po si Attorney Lorna Capuna na itong joint circular na 2015 supersedes it. Kasi parang doon po pinupunto ni Attorney Michael Powa yung kanyang yung kanyang pag-cross-examine sa witness. Ano po ba 'yun? Paki-explain po sa sa publiko yung pinagtalunan po doon. At sino po yung tama?
But ang pin-point out niya kasi, merong COA circular na much earlier, I think 1990 something.
Oo nga wait, I have to
Nakalagay doon na bawal daw i-reveal yung pinaggamitan ng
Yes.
intelligence fund without compromising national security. So he's lifting...
1992, Attorney.
1992, yes.
Yes,
So he's lifting from an old COA circular just a portion. So mas maganda na basahin yung buong circular na is it on point. So it is an argument of law. So hindi rin maganda na yung witness ng COA who's testifying as to matters of fact ang magsasagot niyan. You can actually argue that in your memorandum. But tinanong niya at nagkaroon naman ng pagkakataon na yung kabila naman, sabi nila, 1992 yan. Dito may 2015, mas recent. At tama naman in the interpretation of laws, circulars, or rules. Kung merong mas recent one, then and in conflict with an earlier circular or law, the proper interpretation is the more recent circular or law would amend or modify or cancel the inconsistent provision. Secondly, which is also a principle in interpretation, kung dalawang batas yan, yung isa mas specific. And in this particular case kasi, itong COA Circular 2015-01 is very specific, focusing on confidential and intelligence funds. And if you look at the history of this, ito precisely ginawa not only by COA, but it's a joint circular, not only COA, but DBM, DILG, DND, and GCG, mga government corporations. Why? Because it was really meant to curb yung abuse sa use of confidential funds. Kasi noon pa, ginagawa na yan. So nakikita na nila na this was a thing at the time of Pinoy, part of their reform agenda. They made it more strict. So in that sense, in this using these two principles in interpreting laws, mukhang mamamayani yung 2015-01 circular over and above general provision in the 1992 circular of COA.
Hindi ba dapat alam ng defense yun? Bakit ipinresent pa din?
Well, yun, optics, as we all realize and we all concede, may optics din kasi ito eh. So, kailangan pumuntos ka rin one way or the other. Di ba pati yung tanong niya na meron ka bang isang kusing na ano? So, yan, naiintindihan ng taong bayan eh. So, I'm sure all the lawyers there know na there is this Tangote rule and the Martinez rule, di ba? Na consistent ang Supreme Court. But 99% of the Filipino people, they don't know about these things. So pag yung sinabi na meron bang isang kusing na nakalagay dyan na binulsa niya, yun ang maintindihan nila. Yun ang papasok sa kanilang mental process. That's why it's also important for media or lawyers to explain ano ba yung nasa batas. Because at the end of the day, it's not only also yung perception ng taong bayan, pero yung batas at katotohanan din.
What is accordance with the law.
Of course.
Well, isa pa rin po dun sa pinag-usapan kanina, why is it important for the prosecution to point out that there was a meeting between the COA and the defense, kasama po dun si Attorney Michael Poa, asking guidance for the liquidation and requested nga daw po na dapat audit query na lang instead of AOM. Can you tell us more about it para po mas maintindihan din po ng publiko kung ano po yung importance nung pag-present po ng prosecution of that meeting?
Well, I think, number one, talking of optics, maganda na masabi niya yan para lahat ng mga posibleng kampi ng Vice President, di ba? These are crucial people, yung Chief of Staff niya, si Attorney Poa, Lead Defense Counsel, para bang, alam mo yan nagkukunwari lang tayo dito. Yun ang dating sa masa Kasama ka pala dyan, alam mo na pala merong mga nagni-negotiate pa kayo kung anong tawag. That's very important. Secondly also, the fact that they met on this and discussed it would prove the fact that the Vice President was given a chance to explain this away noon pa. At hindi niya nagawa, kaya umabot sa notice of disallowance.
Okay. Alright, there are also a lot of names na nabanggit yesterday, 'di ba, regarding dun sa mga supposedly aliases, no? Yung merong kang Mary Grace Piatos.
Nova Santos.
You have Miko Harina, you have Alexander Piquet. Natatawa si
Andy Lim.
Andy Lim, Alexander Piquet, you have Cisfronio Balsac, yung mga ganon, ano. Sa ano po ba ng tao, sa ordinaryong tao, tama po ba na may mga ganoon na mga pinapangalan pagdating sa intelligence operation? Kasi I remember sinabi po ni former COA Heidi Mendoza, nung nakita daw nila dati yung sa ginawa nung Napoles scam, ang mga pangalan daw na nilagay nila ay mga galing sa mga bagong pasa, no, sa bar exam or COA exam, if I'm not mistaken. Pero ito, parang naging mas creative, no, yung pagkakaroon ng aliases. Your thoughts on that?
Well, number one, I think it was important. Well, ganito. Pwede namang gumawa ng aliases muna when you liquidate. But it does not exempt you from pag yan usisain ng COA, you really have to reveal kung sino yung totoong binigyan mo. Because it has to be it has to be verifiable. It cannot be a fictitious name. Because if it's a fictitious name or fictitious person doesn't exist, ibig sabihin, binulsa mo, ginamit mo yung pondo. Walang tumanggap kundi ikaw. Okay? So but it's also important na for the prosecution na banggitin yung mga nakakatawang because humor appeals to everyone, di ba? So kung makikita mo yan, so, talagang ginagago tayo dito. Yun ang dating sa taong bayan na yung pangalan pa lang hindi ka pati-paniwala. It can also, I don't know, in their memorandum point out na sa totoo lang, mas maganda sana ginamit nila yung mga pangalan ng bagong pasa sa bar o mga bagong pasa sa medicine. Kasi mas realistic yun. Ito kasi, yung mga pangalan talagang obviously gawa-gawa na. Unless of course they can produce all of them. So it also reveals the haughtiness and the thinking of impunity. Na kahit katawa-tawa ito, kahit hindi tayo magagalaw dito because we're in power. We're politically connected. So baka yun din ang gusto nilang ipalabas. And then thirdly, of course, even before proving na these people don't exist, doon pa lang sa pangalan, parang kaduda-duda na. Yung many people will already believe, peke mga ito, gawa-gawa lang nila. So baka yun purpose nito. But, and also, inuunahan din nila yung defense because they're not sure whether or not the Vice President or the defense can produce actual people behind this transaction and they can stand cross-examination. Yun din ang isang siguro fear ng or wariness ng defense. If you come up with people, they'll be subjected to terrible cross-examination pagpipiestahan sila. So ito yung mga the optics is very important. At the same time also, there's probative value sa mga ganitong mga pangalan because yun nga, it shows yung utter disregard, yung bang feeling of entitlement o kaya of impunity. Kaya kahit pangalan na ng chichirya, okay na lang yan kasi hindi naman tayo dito masisita.
Pero si Senator Bato nag-double down dyan. Sabi niya, merong mga tunay na mga tao na ang apelido ay Piatos sa Davao at saka sa Palawan. No, ginanong pa niya, in-specify niya. Kilala ko pa yung mga yan.
Well, yun na nga. It's very, well, of course, they are political allies. They are popular. May following yan. So, kahit magbigkas sila ng mga ganyan, kahit totoo o hindi na sila masyado apektuhan. They're not under oath. Di ba? But if you are nasasakdal, of you're a witness, and you make those claims and you cannot support it, you're dead meat. Di ba? You can be liable for obstruction of justice, you can be liable for perjury. So, madali yung magkomento, pati yung mga vloggers, di ba? Yung kung sino-sino, kung sinong popular. But that's outside this. We hope that it will not affect the thinking of at the very least, the senator judges. Yung taong bayan, they are subjected to all kinds of kanya-kanyang propaganda eh. So kung minsan, kung hindi natututukan at hindi na ipapaliwanag ang buong konteksto ng nangyayari at ano yung mga batas o mga jurisprudence especially, baka nga malilihis o kaya mapagtatakpan o kaya malilinlang ang mga senator judges, hopefully not kasi matatalino naman sila, marami silang mga abogado, but yung taong bayan.
But for the sake of fairness, attorney, meron po bang naging puntos ang depensa dito sa kanilang pag-cross-examine?
Meron naman. Like for example, binigyan siya. O sabi mo, wala pang presidente na binigyan ng intelligence fund mula nung ikaw nakaupo dyan. Anong year ba yan? O ito, pakitaan kita. Merong Saro yung vice president noon. Nandyan ka na. But hindi pala totoo. So, but hindi na nila
Pero may
pinursue
weight ba
ito.
yun?
Yun, kung makikinig ka din, pwedeng i-pick up yan ng mga vloggers na pabor. Totoo naman na sinabi niya. Ganun. So, credibility maano ng konti, di ba? Yung kanyang credibility. Maganda sana kung sa redirect, kinanong niya, meron ka bang in-audit? Kasi ang testimony niya is only with respect yung mga transactions na in-audit niya. But of course, kung aaminin na meron pala, so parang siguro sinungaling ka kasi nagsinungaling ka dito. So, meron namang punto. There are fine points, small points that the defense counsels were able to exploit to at least chip away from the credibility of the witness. But it was not enough to overturn yung body of his testimony and the documents, the receipts presented so far, at saka yung probative value ng mga ito.
Attorney, may huling tanong na lang on another issue. Dahil dito kay Bong Revilla, na nabigyan ng bail dahil daw mahina daw yung evidence, kahit mismo si Yusek Bernardo ang nag-testify na dinala niya yung pera personally, no, kay Senator Bong Revilla, ay medyo nagalit si Ombudsman Boying Remulla. Ngayon lang ako nakarinig ng ombudsman na inamin, sabi niya, tinrabaho ito. No? Alam naman natin kung anong ibig sabihin ng trinabaho. No? So, tapos sinabi rin niya na wake-up call na ito sa amin. No? Yun, medyo cryptic pa yon. Pero from your vantage point, tingin niyo ba tinrabaho talaga ito?
As you say, yung tinabaho kasi, I think that was a conscious term. Because it can be an innocent tinabaho. Talagang nag-research, nag-pleading, whatever. The other side of this is tinabaho ito. Either political influence, binayaran, sinuhulan. But you know, that was a calculated and very pointed use of the word. It can go either way. So, depende sa iyo kung anong interpretasyon mo at malikot ang isip ng taong bayan, lalong-lalo na yung korupsyon mukhang sa lahat ng ahensya ng gobyerno, including judiciary, nandyan yan eh. So, yun ang background, di ba? Pangalawa, ano ibig sabihin na eye-opener, we learn our lesson. So, again, dalawa ding interpretation yan. Ibig sabihin, eye-opener, mukhang yung aming standard na with reasonable certainty of conviction, kulang pa. Or pwede rin yung eye-opener na kahit anong gawin namin ito, meron din kalokohan dyan sa judiciary kasi magkaiba yung ombudsman sa judiciary eh. So again, double-edged din yan. But I hope it drives home the point, yung palagi nating sinasabi, when we talk about corruption, when we put it to sa forefront, yung corruption, hindi lang sa executive or legislative. Kasi tumang-tuwa tayo, iniimbestigahan yung executive or mga politicians kasi paborito natin ang politician, notorious na daw sila di ba? But kahit palagi magkasuhan. Pag kinasuhan, wala na sa control mababawasan na ang control ng prosecution di ba? Kung tutuusin natin, yung iba nga na mandarambong, inuunahan na nga ang taong bayan. Pag yan ay nasuspetsyahan o kaya napagbintangan, uunahan pa sasabihin niya, sige, kasuhan mo ako. Why do they do that? Kasi alam siguro nila, kaya nilang ilusot sa justice process. At a great part of that, and the final say, are the judges. The justices, the judges, all the way up to the Supreme Court. So ito should open our eyes na ang ating vigilance, ang ating resoluteness na magkaroon ng accountability kasama ang mga hukom. Because this is a fact, this is not an opinion. Over time, nakita natin na meron ding mga judges, justices, all the way up to the Supreme Court na napatunayan na dishonest. So, again, yun, eye-opener para sa ating lahat. So, the vigilance should be at all levels of the justice process.
So, malinaw na kung anong ibig sabihin ni Attorney
Tinrabaho.
Cayosa ng tinrabaho.
Basta alam
In
ko-
so many words.
Basta alam ko isa na.
Ang galing ni attorney
Galing attorney eh.
Very
Maingat
safe.
tayo dyan kasi kami
Very
mga
safe.
abogado,
Yes,
pwede nilang,
abogado.
sa code of professional responsibility of accountability. Kayo,
Understand.
wala. But your journalistic ethics, I'm confident. Why? Because I can cite, there are decisions of the Supreme Court. Merong mga pinagtatanggal na justices. Meron pang na-impeach sa Chief Justice. So the fact is, meron talagang corruption. And within themselves, they would know. They would know. Unfortunately, ang aking palagi sinasabi, the judiciary is very slow and sometimes incapable in weeding out the corrupt.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yes.
Ang joke ko nga ito, because, di ba, dapat sa judiciary, yan dapat ang talagang doble dapat ang integrity kasi sila na yung nagdidesisyon, di ba? Sila na nagtitimbang. So, but then, of course, ang question dyan is, bakit meron pa ring na may dinidismiss ang Supreme Court. Merong
Yeah.
na-impeach, no less the Chief Justice, di ba? So, ang joke, ito joke to be clear,
sige.
baka naman, ang joke ko nga sa ibang kakilala natin na mga juez o mga justices, members of collegiate body, sabi ko, kasi kung iisa lang sa inyo dyan, ang medyo tiwali, no? Madali yung tanggalin kasi mag-isa siya. Kaya siguro kayo nahihirapan tanggalin, baka nga marami sila. O baka mas marami kesa dun sa mga hindi tiwali. Yung theory lang naman yan, di ba? I'm not making any claim, but it's
Alright.
just a theory na
Sige
na
po.
pwedeng maglaro sa ating kaisipan. But
Alright.
again, as a lawyer, we have to
Okay.
That's right, that's
support the
right.
integrity ng ating justice system.
Basta,
Joke ni Attorney
Joke lang
yun.
yan,
Sa akin, hindi joke yun.
basta ang alam ko, magtatrabaho ako ng maayos. Oo. Gagapang ako
Oo,
araw-araw.
kasi marami
para-
akong kilala eh.
Oo.
sige.
And then, pero for now, thank you for talking to us, former IBP President, Attorney Domingo Igon Cayosa. Thank you for your time, Attorney.
Salamat, Attorney.
Okay.
Maraming salamat. Sana hindi tayo ipatisbar.
Hindi yan. Maayos naman pagkakapaliwanag.
That's a joke.
Tsaka meron pa naman kayong possible political career.